You seem to have lots of poems. You seem to be like creatively just
engaged,
creating constantly, whether it be painting or writing poems, writing.
Yeah.
What is it that where does this passion come from, or where does the ability to create? Where does that? Do you think about that, or do you? Like, I'm just wondering how intellectual you get about your process.
Well, I go through periods, long periods sometimes, where I'm prolific, when ideas come to me all the time, and I've been in this kind of mindset frame, if you like, or zone or whatever, for about a year now. I was building up to it for a while, and for the last couple of years I've been painting and writing here and there, but it's really over the last year that I've been constantly getting ideas and writing a lot of poetry, a couple of articles and quite a few paintings. I've about a year and say 4 months ago, I wrote my first poem in this batch of poems. I've written poetry years ago, but not recently. The last time would be about 15 years ago or something. So in this batch of poetry, I started about a year and 4 months ago, and I've written 35 poems now in a year and 4 months. But it took, in the first, say, 6 months of that, or even longer, about 8 months, it's about half of the way through, about 8 months. In the first 8 months, I wrote 3 poems. And I was really working out how to do it. I didn't know how to write poetry properly. And so, I didn't have the ideas that suddenly came upon me, but I was all backed up, and it all came flooding out suddenly after about 8 months, and I wrote another 31 poems. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And is there any white over there? I need some white, actually, if there's any white. I do need some white. Is that white? Yep. Right.
Yeah, it's a separate one,
yeah. So then, over the last over the last 8 months, I've written 31 poems. So that's a lot of poetry in 8 months. So I've just been constantly coming up with new poems and paintings too. I've done quite a few paintings in that time. So you would class that as prolific, and I think the quality of the poetry has steadily increased, luckily. If it was decreasing, then I wouldn't have lasted as long as I have. The fact that the quality of the poetry is steadily increasing allows me to keep on going. And as soon as I feel like I'm writing a shit poem, then I would stop. I just wouldn't keep on going. It would just peter out, and I'd go and do something else for a while.
Yeah, it's creating shit work seems to be the fear of every creator.
Yeah.
You don't want to create something that doesn't affect people the way you hope it would.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you find sometimes that does it hold you back if you're worried about doing something that's shit?
Well, I think for a lot of people it does, but for me, No, it doesn't. I don't have a lot of pride, really. I don't have a lot of shame either, really, because of the kind of life I've had. So, you know, I make sure that my work is subjected to the critical eye immediately, because there's pretty much as soon as I write a poem, I put it up on my Facebook page. So it's the first draft, if you like, that I think is good enough for someone else to read. So I'll just put it up on my Facebook page, and a lot of people read my poetry on my Facebook page, but I'm changing it while it's on my Facebook page. So I might continue to work on a poem for 4 days after that, just new ideas that come to me, or I'll read that poem and I'll see, oh no, there's a mistake there, I've got to change that, or that's not right, and I'll make changes for up to a month afterwards even, but mostly it's in, say, 3 or 4 days, the 3 or 4 days after I post it, I'll make a lot of changes to come up with the final version. Especially recently, like now, I'm still working on poems I wrote 8 months ago, 9 months ago, 10 months ago, but they weren't very good poems, I don't think, because I have been developing as a writer, and I've been learning how to write poetry, and I do believe it's a spiritual activity. Writing is a spiritual activity, so it comes from somewhere else. It's not coming from me, you know, it's coming from somewhere else. And so, if it's flowing, then you've just got to go with it, really, and just, you know, and then a part of that process is getting embarrassed. I think, like, you've got to be willing to put it out there so that other people can read it and be critical of it, and then that spurs you on to make or to write readable poems because you're conscious of someone else reading it, and I think that embarrassment is very godly, if you like. It's, you know, it's like you're putting it out there, and because you're stepping out in faith by doing that, then the ideas come from the ether or wherever, or from the universe, or from the Lord, or, you know, from somewhere. The ideas come much faster then, because you're embarrassed by that first draft you've put out there, and you need to change it quickly because you know people are reading it, and so it happens much faster if you allow yourself to be embarrassed, I think. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It's like, when you express yourself artistically, it's like you're letting all your scars show, and when
Putting yourself on show, yeah, you're
going out with any makeup,
Yeah.
putting yourself on show, exactly.
Or I just like whenever I get like embarrassed, like I like lose all my it like breaks my ego, so I don't like I haven't been embarrassed much, but like I feel like I have nothing to lose once I'm embarrassed. Yeah,
true.
so-
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I've hit the bottom. Who cares now?
Yeah, well,
then you truly
trusting in something bigger than yourself, isn't it? You're trusting in something else. Once you put the poem out there, or the work of art out there, you're trusting in something else to take over.
Yeah, I think that's
Whatever that is. Yeah.
I understand. You know, I think I understand. The way I interpret it is what you guys are saying is that if you're an artist, say like Tarantino, who he doesn't want to put out a piece of work that is shit, right? So until he does bring out something that is crap, he's going to be in constant fear of am I making sense? Or?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I would say, well, I don't know Quentin Tarantino's work intimately enough to comment, but I would say he would show it to someone early on, or there would be someone else involved, you know, to give him some feedback, you know, for him to bounce off, you know, because I think a work of art that is purely your own, without anyone looking at it, very rarely works. As far as the final version goes, the final version needs that critical input, I think.
Do you find that is there anything that helps bring out the creativity or the words, makes writing the words easier? Is there techniques or?
Well, I hate to say this, but because I'm not advocating drug use, but I would say using ice is a very creative activity. It certainly strengthens your mind, and you go to places in your brain that you've never been to before because of ice, and it's very challenging, extremely challenging. And so it's cheating in a way if you're an artist and you're using ice, because you've got access to these deep places inside you that you can't go to normally without ice. So yeah, it's cheating. I'm a cheat.
Yeah, interesting. Performance enhancing.
It is? Oh, ice definitely is. Definitely.
The only problem is it doesn't last.
Well, I think once your mind is changed on ice, your mind stays changed. So
It's true, but you have to be careful because there's documentation and
Yeah.
research that says that once you really got a sentence, they don't grow back.
right. Well, I don't know. I feel pretty good these days, still, even though. Oh, the nurse. But the nurse. Hey, come back here. No, it's gone. Oh no, I want to argue some more.
Yeah, true. So when you're fleshing out an idea,
Yeah.
what steps do you take? Like, do you start at the beginning? Do you start at the middle to the end, or just
No,
whatever
normally-
comes to your mind, you just write down?
Normally, I get one idea for a poem anyway. I get one idea, and if I think that idea is clever and funny, then I've got that one idea that I build the whole poem around it, and so the whole poem comes from that one idea which is clever or funny, and then once I get that one line, that one in poetry, once I get that one line, then I know I've got a poem because I can build around that, and the other stuff will come. So if I get one line that is thematically what is on my mind, or what is thematically something I'm thinking about and talking about, when I get that line, then the rest of it just comes naturally and it all falls into place.
Does writer's block exist for you at all sometimes?
Oh, it has in the past.
Yeah.
I wish I had some now, actually.
Yeah?
No.
Sometimes you get...
No, I'm joking. I am. I don't know. It's a bit. I don't know. It's a bit of a. For me anyway, producing art has its negative side as well, because I have difficulty communicating with people when I'm creating art.
Or do you think creating art makes you less like verbally fluent? Or
It's something like that. I think my mind is so centered on what I'm doing, and I'm just thinking totally about the art I'm working on, that conversation is very difficult, because that's taking me off in a direction I don't want to be in, or unless I'm willing to talk about, or unless I find someone who's willing to talk about the art that I'm working on, then it's okay. But that's very rare, because it's not going to be very interesting for anyone else to talk about all this stuff that's going on in my head. But occasionally you can find someone who'll just sit there and all ears. Occasionally you do, yeah. It's about done, that one.